Hello, everyone.
We're here.
It's time for the first post-edit recap.
Woo, these are always fun.
So, to explain for you if you haven't watched our Umineko playthrough, this is basically where we go back through after we've edited it and kind of talk about the things we noticed in editing, things that changed our opinion going through it the second time, talk about, like, how us being later in the story now affects our thinking on when we were editing. Right now, we are up to...
we are just past... We just finished the scene with the festival... in Wata Nagashi.
Yes.
So if you know what that's about, boy, was that a fun scene.
Yeah. So
if you haven't read that far, probably safest not to be in this video.
Yeah, so
come back later.
Arc 2 spoilers in this one, at least.
Basically. Yeah.
We're not as far ahead as we were in Umineko. Just by a little bit.
Well, that's because when we did Umineko, which we'll probably talk about a little bit, we'll try and contain it to the end of the video, but like obviously there's going to be comparisons because this is kind of a meta video.
Yeah.
But in that one, like we didn't even start releasing episode 1 until after we completely finished it, right?
Yeah.
So we were a whole episode ahead, a whole arc ahead. Whereas this one, we got like halfway through Higurashi before we started uploading. I think, if that far.
Part 8, which I think was like
that's
just below halfway.
Just below half, yeah. So yeah, like this is fun. It's fun trying to do something that's we're trying to be a little bit more in the moment about it. It's a bit different.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I think we definitely will start to outpace the story a bit later on. We're kind of off to a slow start, but that's fine.
That's fine. Scheduling is a thing, but that's okay. We're getting on top of it.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying my time with it so far, so it's definitely going to continue. No fears about that. I don't know. Has your opinion on Higurashi changed any little bits?
Not a lot. I think going through the first time, I mean, I'm sure this will change later on down the line, but I definitely noticed a lot of the things that are foreshadowing later concepts. At least the ones that we like. It doesn't mean that I understood the implications of them, but I definitely noticed them.
Yeah, I feel
that. There definitely were a few more subtle ones, like when Keiichi goes, "Hey, Sadako, your parents are at the gate."
Yep.
She
doesn't have any parents here to be at the gate. I don't want to see the cutaway that happens there when somebody tells Sadako that her parents are at the gate. But that's just awful.
Yeah.
There's some really sad stuff in there that's like what's the word? Clothed,
there's definitely some things that are still flying under my radar. But I think a lot of the more surface level foreshadowing of things
definitely
has
I think you're enough on top of things.
I also think like my general understanding of what happened to Keiichi is still relatively the same.
Sure.
I did want to talk a bit more about like we definitely touched on like a lot on how I thought he was just seeing shit in his head.
Yeah, totally.
And I still pretty much believe that.
But I think
we didn't really touch so much on why Ryukishi showed us a lot of the things in his head.
Yeah.
Partially because I was a bit thin on ideas, and I still kind of am.
That's fine. I mean, dare I say it, but Higurashi is not quite as tight as Umineko in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, I think that we're going to have a really interesting discussion when this whole thing is over about how much stuff that's like revealed later was intended in the first place. I think that's going to be a great discussion.
I think one of the other things, as best I understand, is that each question arc has a respective answer arc.
Yes.
I think you've told me that before, so there's clearly going to be a lot more like direct unpacking of the story rather than an overarching concept which is all shown moment to moment. Which is kind of what we were talking about towards the end of the last recap with regards to why I didn't like the full cast review session.
Yeah, I know. I still stand by my statement. Like, I still enjoyed it, even though, obviously it is Ryukishi trying to make sure that everyone's on the same page. He's trying to, like, if he wasn't clear about something, if he wasn't clear about the conflict between, is it humans or is it supernatural creatures?
I think it definitely has its place, but like
it's clunky.
It's clunky, and
for sure.
If I had to pick one thing in the story to replace, I'd actually probably pick either that or the opening section as like the first things I'd lop out.
I don't know. I really enjoy Higurashi's slice of life. There is a lot of it, especially in Wata Nagashi. There is just so much slice of life. When I was doing my first read of Wata Nagashi a couple of months ago, I kept stopping and starting because I just couldn't get through it. I was like, how many more scenes are there before like we get through this chapter? It's also
I guess to some extent the target audience is different.
Sure.
But like it's kind of, I see it as kind of a shame that it's there in the volume that it is, because a lot of people like myself are going to be put away from great stories like this that have these clunky introductions. Like, you want a story to hook you. If I'm watching someone's normal fucking day, I can just go be like, yo, buddy, can I just hang with you for a day?
Yeah, don't start off a story, in a tavern, just having a good time, unless the tavern is on fire.
Yeah.
Guess you said that. But yeah, no, like, I agree with you that, like, starting off with something interesting, starting off in the middle of conflict, with these character dramas kind of already happening is better. It just engages you more.
Yeah.
But that said, I think that my kind of relationship with Higurashi is very much defined by the duality of it, by the fact that we have these happy, fun times, and then we have the horrible, depressing times. It was what initially hooked me into the story when I saw descriptions of it and I heard the music and saw images of it. I was like, oh, there's these kids having a great old time. And then the comments of there's a whole story behind this that I'll probably go into more when we actually have the song pop up. But the song that got me into it was Dear You, the music box version. And yeah, just in that YouTube video, it was like this slideshow of these kids having a great time, shooting each other with squirt guns and playing hide and seek and shit. And then the comments were just like, wait until they bring out their machetes and they try to kill each other. And I'm like, how is this the same show? This is insane. And so in that respect, like, I really appreciate the slice of life stuff. I think that it has a very unique take on it.
I think it has a place. It just has a place that isn't where it is. But we've roasted slice of life enough already.
We talk about that a lot in this playthrough.
I think talking about your early experience with the story is definitely something I wanted to touch on a bit more, particularly with your play that you did about
that play that I brought up like 1,000 times but haven't properly talked about. Right, so, there was this play that I did for my Year 12 final performance.
Year 12 being final year of high school.
Yes.
I don't know if that's different around the world.
I don't know either. But, there's quite the story about this, so strap in, story time with Magus. But, I was in Year 12 and I was having a rough time of it and I was all stressed out, and then Higurashi, I watched that and I thought, this is a really cool thing. And it just so happened that I was in the middle of preparing for my final performance, and I was going to do a story. It was read out, it was kind of performed by a YouTuber named Cryotic, so shout out to him, he's a pretty cool dude. He did a story called, I think it's I've come to terms with the fact that everything I know is a dream, and it's this horror story, and like the twist is that he constantly dies and wakes up and then dies, and he's like never sure when he's actually awake. He's really fucked up. But then I realized,
funnily enough, the HSC the HSC drama exam was yesterday.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, good on them.
Good on them.
I hope everyone did well on that. But yeah, so I was gonna do this horror piece, but I was struggling with like ideas on how I would like I had a script written out with like these are the lines and this is like how I want to do lights and stuff. But then I was like, you know what I could do? I could take that monologue that's at the beginning of an Ikakushi, where Keiichi, like, we kind of flash forward to Keiichi like monologuing about him killing his friends. What if I took the first scene there, that opening monologue, and the visuals of like the end when he kills them and they're like, lying on the ground? What if I took those and tried to make a play out of it? And that's what I did. And I got two friends of mine to play Mion and Rena. Only Rena died in this version of the story, so it wasn't like a 100% thing. But it started off with them talking about this weirdo Ishi guy coming to my car, have air conditioning, which is where the Russian voice comes from. The best character and my favorite voice in all of things, goodness.
I really just wanted to shout out the fact that you managed to insert his voice 6 episodes before he appeared.
Well, he was the voice that I had the most confidence in what I was going to choose because of this play that I did. And that's just how it's going to be. It was great.
Excellent, in fact.
Thank you. Very delicious, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I always try to slip stuff into the playthrough that's like a reference to later, or like it's a little nod to the audience, sort of thing. And more often than not, I do it in the kind of way that only I notice it, I feel, and only I will care. But I'm glad that you noticed. I'm glad that you were like, hey, Magus, that's a good little bit of foreshadowing.
It was one of these moments in editing where I was just like, God damn it.
God damn it, Ben.
You snuck one by me.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those in Human Echo and in Higurashi.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. I love getting to do it. It's part of the fun. It's part of the challenge of slipping stuff under your detective nose. But yeah, so we had this whole big play. It's like 10 minutes long, and then I spent another 10 minutes answering questions to the audience about like, why did you pick this, and like, why did you write this? And I talked about how I was so sick of traditional narratives where like the good guy gets the girl and they save the world. I really wanted to like explore stories that had more of a kind of tragic ending. And
How edgy.
I know, kind of edgy, but like, I don't know, that's what drew Higurashi to me. It's like, it was such a weird story. It was something that I hadn't really read before. And I loved the characters. I loved like the way that Higurashi like contrasts these two opposing concepts. He uses duality a lot in all of his works, the light and the dark, the real and the unreal, you know, the unreliable narrator thing. And yeah, I don't know, like, I fell in love with these characters and I wanted to keep exploring them through my own creative works. And my kind of mental state at the time was not super great. I didn't really feel like I could do anything. I like, in terms of like, I don't know, like I was just kind of coasting through school doing that thing, but I thought, you know, I got good grades, but what can I do? What makes me unique? And latching onto a creative work like this and making a fully fledged play out of it with like sound cues. I actually put together a little soundboard thing to be played at the start of the play, and that was something I'd never done before. It was just a really cool creative like springboard for me to explore my love of storytelling. And that was really when I started getting into movies and anime and visual novels and started talking about all that stuff. So it was a gateway for me to like find something that I really cared about.
Yeah.
So that's why I care about Higurashi. And that, to bring that around to the playthrough, is also kind of why I take the approach that I do. Because I don't know if y'all have noticed, those of y'all who've stayed around since Umineko, but in Umineko, there was a very clear kind of, I guess, dichotomy between the two of us, where like, I would ask you lots of questions and I would try to refute you. I don't do that so much with Higurashi, and I think that's just because of my very personal kind of relationship with this story. I can detach myself from the Umineko characters, even from the ones that I really, really, truly love deep in my heart, and kind of play a part. You know, play the part of the villain or the victim a little bit more effectively. But when I saw Rena, like, regardless of whether she's innocent or guilty or not, when I saw her getting fucked up and then murdered at the end, I felt really awful. I felt somewhat traumatized. And this is my 6th time through the story, through this particular chapter.
Yeah.
I've watched it 3 times on the anime. I read the old translation and then I read the retranslation by Steam. So
that's on top of you going over and over it again to prepare for the play.
Exactly. Because absolutely. I went through the story so many times, finding sound effects and recording them for that little soundboard at the start. It was a whole thing. I probably won't ever let anyone see the light of day because it's a bit embarrassing to go back to my old work. But yeah, like, I've gone over this chapter so many times, it still gets me because there's something so incredibly human about the way that Keiichi like approaches the problem. And yeah, in my mind, like, I care less about solving it as a mystery of like, who is the culprit? Why are these things happening? And more like, Higurashi very deliberately explores how a good relationship can go bad. How, you know, we've got these 2 friends who meet up every day and they've been friends for however long, it doesn't matter. And they share their secrets with each other. And there's even hints of a romantic relationship on Higurashi. And yet one of them gets their brains bashed in by the other. And watching that devolving into chaos and madness, I've not experienced something quite as intense as this, but I have definitely had relationships with friends. Like, there was a good relationship I had with a friend of 6 years that I ended because I wouldn't play video games with him. That was the reason. And I look back on that and I say, what a fucking idiot I was.
I mean, like, on the one hand, yeah, it's pretty dumb. But at the same time, if you kind of look back and cringe on things you used to do, have you really grown as a person?
Exactly. Yeah, like we would talk during the day about video games at school or whatever, and then we get home and he'd be like, do you want to play a video game? I'd be like, no, I don't really feel like it because I just wanted some time to myself or I had other stuff to do.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, you never play video games with me anymore. Do you hate me? And I'm like, no, I don't hate you. I just have time. And it just became this whole messy thing that ended as just completely cutting contact. And I've done similar stupid things to friends in the past, like cutting contact with them because it was for their own good or whatever, you know, like stupid bullshit teenage drama stuff that I'm like, I was an idiot. And this first chapter so perfectly encapsulates how I feel, that like stress, that paranoia of like, am I doing this? Like, is this a good thing? Like, can I salvage this relationship with someone? I don't know if you've ever had any situations like this, but
it's very interesting to listen to that because
this is how I feel.
I understand what you're saying, but I look at it from like a different perspective on the same thing.
Sure, tell me.
Like, for me, I look at, like I was talking about in the previous recap with, you know, how everything that Reddit does is so like hopeless.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me as like, I have had that experience where like you go to help someone and they just knock you back over and over and over again.
Sure.
And I've definitely been through a lot of situations like that.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of that.
a lot of situations where people like refuse to improve. So it's really interesting to have like the two of us have such a different reaction because of our different experiences. Because I don't think I've ever really had like that kind of drama in my life.
You never even been that dumb?
I've been like on the side. Perfect, I've been like on the sideline of it a lot of times.
You're just perfect. I get it. It's fine.
But I don't know. I guess I just like. I forgive people too easily.
Yeah.
Even people who've like properly fucked me over, I'm just like,
I mean, that's definitely where I am now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point, right? Bring it back to Higurashi. That's something that Keiichi, how do I want to explain this? Like, Ryukishi pokes at that idea of like, how far can someone go before you can't forgive them anymore?
Yeah.
Like, Keiichi, in his mind, when he's having the like flash forward to him killing Rena and Mion, he hears someone apologizing. He's like, why can't you just forgive them? Why can't you just forgive these people if they're asking for forgiveness? And then, of course, that directly contrasts with his mindset at the end where he's like, no, I can't forgive you. This is the end. Yeah, so of course putting both of those mindsets into one performance as a player was fun too.
Yeah, the other one that was interesting going through this chapter, I think it was Worthless Winner commented that was like Newt, who's one of the other kind of VN Let's Players in the When They Cry thing at the moment. When he went through Higurashi, he was like, God, Keiichi, why don't you just forgive and forget? Come on, like move on. And I'm like, yeah, fuck Keiichi, keep asking stupid questions.
But yeah, like there's a Schadenfreude there of like you should be trying to like sort this out, work through your emotional shit, talk to people. And that's why I like Higurashi, because it like literally taught me about this stuff.
Yeah.
It literally taught me like this is what happens when you fucking fight the people closest to you and don't think straight and don't like work it out. And yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is all this stuff I've said about myself, it's like I was a fucking idiot. I am less of an idiot now.
Yeah.
I do this stuff less, so don't worry about me so much. I ain't gonna go murdering Felix in a back alley with
I don't believe that
axe.
for a second.
I'm not a leech. Anyway, yeah, so that's my personal experience with this chapter. It's why it's probably my favorite. As you said, each chapter does have an answer arc, so We'll see how we go when we get to that arc. It might top this one, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm super excited for that chapter. You have no idea.
I really don't.
It was the first arc of the anime that made me cry. It made me just be like, "Oh my god, this is it."
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to it. We'll get to it when we get there.
I've really been enjoying seeing everyone leaving spoiler comments about like super far forward things. Like, I'm sure in Umineko things would have happened at that point as well if we'd like had a bigger audience at the time,
because like comment about it.
It took a while to grow it to this size, so you know there are more people commenting on things now, but it's just great like being like, oh, that's like the second last arc in the story, what the fuck did I comment on?
What theory did you mention that reaches all the way there? I've had a surprising number of comments from people that are just telling me, because there are a lot of little things that I say that you were not actually supposed to know during the chapter, but I mean, I don't care too much, but it's worth addressing, like Rika's last name, the fact that Rika and Seneko live together. Like, there are these little details that I'll drop that, because I just don't care.
I think I was the first person to mention Rika's full name in the story because I knew it going in anyway.
I don't think it matters. Yeah, I mean, I think on the Manga Gamer page it even has like a full name there. And that's the thing, like, I don't think it matters at this point. Yeah. Honestly, I don't think that little details like that matter.
I mean, if this was truly a blind playthrough, I wouldn't have played Umineko.
It's true. Like, do we want to get into that now? Is this the moment?
Nah, we'll do that a bit later.
Okay, fine.
I kind of wanted to at least first, before we move on to that, like shout out the people that have been lending us a hand.
All those cool people.
Shout out to LV, shout out to Epica, then out to Yuxu5, or however you pronounce that name.
Lux-chan.
That one.
Yeah, Lux-chan.
Okay, there you go.
Lux-chan! You gave me a reputation point. I love you.
It's been wonderful having you all in the comments and on the Discords.
I also want to shout out Large Hadron Collider, also known as Hadchan. She hasn't been watching our videos because she's reading through the story as well, and I love her reaction. She calls Ren a baby girl every second sentence because she loves her so much, and I feel spiritually connected to you, Hadchan.
It's sad.
It's wonderful.
The server that this is on, which I'll link in the description, of course. I was falling through her, going through Arc 1.
You were just shitposting.
I was just constantly being awful.
Yeah. It was really awful to watch. I couldn't handle it.
It's really weird. Like, as we've said, we have a very different interpretation of the story, but like this is still just a fun puzzle to me at this point. I haven't been emotionally hooked yet.
Sure.
And like, in fairness, it took until Arc 4 for that to happen to me in Umineko.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, because it's been so much longer since I read Higurashi back in 2013. But I feel like I, too, was not, like, 100% attached to all the characters. And part of that is because, some characters have very few lines. Like, despite Rika being in almost every fucking scene, she only speaks, like, one line in each scene. And that problem is compounded in an anime that has to cut out the smaller scenes and like move through things quicker. So like I remember pretty much nothing but Ren and Keiichi from the anime version, which to be fair, like they're the focus. That's kind of the shtick of this arc, focusing on their relationship and what could have been and what was and all that sort of fun stuff. But yeah, it's a fucking roller coaster.
It really is. One thing I've particularly enjoyed in Arc 2, now that we've moved past that, is like all of the things that have already been challenged about my previous assumptions. Like, you know, as I mentioned in the last recap, where like we hadn't really touched on Mion's emotional side as a character.
Yep. That's where we are.
That's right in the middle of where we are right now, and that's been really great to explore. Also, when I mentioned that, like, I thought probably that Mion's family was gonna be the ones behind things, but then it was gonna turn out to have like some other twist. I don't think that anymore. We've had a big couple of moments that have really changed my mind on that.
I guess we'll see if that pans out. How you feeling about the characters? How you going?
It's really great. I think that a lot of the foreshadowing that we set up that I noticed the first time through is starting to pay off.
Sure.
So I'm excited to go through a bit later and like look back and be even more surprised by some of the things.
Yep.
I think that the construction of this story, you know, as much as you say it's not as tight as Umineko, I feel like of someone's first attempt at a murder mystery, it's pretty fucking impressive.
It's phenomenal. This story is phenomenal for the place that it sits in Ryukishi's library of works. If this was his third or fourth work, I think people might have been underwhelmed. But as his first work, because this is the thing about Ryukishi, he is so fucking indie. Like in everything that he does, I feel like he must have the funds to like go fully professional, and yet he just doesn't. And that's like what's so charming about him. Where like he doesn't seem to have an editor, and he draws his own sprites for the most part, and he gets music from these like whack job beautiful people. Just on the internet. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's such a huge part of why people love him. Because, like, I mean, I'm the person who's always saying, like, you shouldn't get attached to brands or companies or whatever. But, like, I don't even think of a seventh expansion. I think of Ryukishi. I think of him putting his heart and soul into this pretty much on his own. He's a very transparent person, I think, is also helps.
Yes, I think particularly recently with the latest news on When They Cry 5.
Oh boy.
When Ryukishi's like, I have an announcement coming up this week.
It's so sad.
I'm delaying it.
Yeah, but his reasoning is like, I can't stay up. I can't run on 2 hours of sleep like I used to when I was writing those other works. I'm like, oh, you poor sweet baby. Like, I love it.
It's very much not a business decision.
Yeah. It's great. It's not like, we're going to come back to you in a week's time with more information or whatever. It's just like...
Yeah, we're not...
Shut up! Cut this! Cut what that man said!
Cut that!
That was meant to be a low-key jab, not an explicit jab! Anyway, we're not talking about that.
Not talking about
that. But yeah, no, I love this shit so much. I think watching his like timeline of work, seeing how each of his pieces of media kind of comments on the previous one and like... Seeing all that crazy shit is what I love so much about his work.
Yeah, even particularly I'll get into this in a second because it's kind of Umineko-y, but there's a
hyped.
lot of things that Ryukishi definitely very clearly learns from very quickly.
Yes.
And I think that's really great to see in a writer. There's a lot of things like my sister has been reading through a book at the moment, and she's constantly bitching about the fact that the writer has not improved the main character in any way through the entire story.
Yeah.
She's like, they want me to care for this protagonist, but she's actually the worst person in the entire book. I wish someone else was the protagonist.
Right. Yeah.
And
I mean,
like,
he very clearly like develops even between arcs. From this to Watanagishi. Takano, we can tell when you're talking, baby girl. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Shout out.
That was good.
Want to do some theory crafting, my dude?
I said I was going to check it in editing just to make sure I wasn't, cooked off my rocker. But Keiichi's note, right?
Yeah.
It was very obvious that bits were missing, and I was fairly confident which bits were missing, but I didn't want to try quote them because I felt like the specific details would be important.
Yeah, because you're a perfectionist. I understand.
I'm a perfectionist.
You have a reputation to uphold. Yeah.
That's right.
I feel you.
And also because I didn't remember the first part of the note at all. Mainly that.
Yeah, mainly because it's just, why are people trying to kill me? I don't know. It's a great question, but it's always sure, my fam.
So let's just run down this note.
All right, lay us through this note. It's a great one. You do it in character?
I'll do it in character.
Yes.
I, Keiichi Maebara, am in fear for my life. I do not know why they are after my life. The only thing I do know is that it has to do with Oyashiro-sama's curse. Renner and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. There are four or five adults, maybe more. They have a white van. Please reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive. Tomitaki-san's death was from an unknown drug. This syringe is proof. I have no idea why it has become like this. If you're reading this, then I am probably already dead. Though you may or may not find my body. You, who are reading this, please uncover the truth. That is my only desire.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the performance. And which part of that note is missing?
That would be, please reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive. Tomitaki-san's death was from an unknown drug, and this syringe is proof. Now, the thing is you could take kind of like two approaches to this. First of all, you could take it that they just tore out the middle section of that letter because he stuck so much goddamn tape on that thing trying to stick the quote-unquote syringe to the back.
It was an accident. It was an accidental murder. Yeah, sure.
Which I think was a marker because they were drawing on him just like what the club did to Tomitaki before he left.
I see.
Which very tasteless joke from Renner and Mion. Regardless of reality or fiction or going mad or not. That is just a really, really poor...
Well, they were trying to kill him. You know how it is. You got to kill someone. You got them right where you want them, and then they hit you in the face with a baseball bat. That's just how it is. That's how life works.
Oh, God. It's so ridiculous.
It's great.
It's really interesting, though. Like, I don't think it's a syringe, but the fact that it was taken is very interesting to me.
It's important to some degree.
Yeah, like... Here's the thing is, if it was taken because the people behind this were like, oh shit, this is giving away our plans, but they also took the syringe, which I think is a marker, surely it would have made Keiichi seem less reliable to leave a marker there when it said this syringe is proof.
I like that you're assuming that it was like the culprit or whatever who took the piece of paper and the syringe. Well,
yeah, I mean, it has to be missing for some reason.
Sure.
That's kind of like my first stab because, it's a murder mystery and that's the spiciest option.
Sure.
I think there are a lot less spicy options you could take. Like, as I said, the fact that it maybe just got damaged or, maybe it was like split up in processing, like maybe Uishi went and found it and he was like, oh, this middle part, this is the important bit, I'll leave the rest.
Maybe.
Or someone else.
I mean, he's a clandestine motherfucker, so,
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of possibilities. The thing that I find most interesting about this whole set, though, is that, like, aside from this syringe's proof, the first two lines would be the most incriminating lines if those are correct. Like, the first part is just, I'm in fear for my life. Vague things, curse. Renner and Mion are conspirators of the perpetrators. They're both dead anyway, so not really getting much answers out of them. There are 4 or 5 adults, maybe more. They have a white van.
Interesting that they didn't take that.
Yeah, it's interesting that they didn't take that one. I feel like that would be one of the other ones that would be more incriminating. However, I get the feeling that the doctor rocking up was what happened because they said they called the doctor. So the question as to whether the 4 or 5 other adults was Keiichi, making these medical workers more than they, actually were, or whether that is actually what he saw. Like, we don't know, but I think that one kind of has an easy cover story.
Maybe.
Like, you could just say, it's like, yeah, the ambulance, rocked up. We were called. We have, evidence of the phone call. We were dispatched, whatever. I think that one's pretty easy to defend as Keiichi just going nuts. Or just being misinterpreted. It's also they have a white van, super vague.
It's pretty vague. You didn't get the license plate number.
Yeah, it's...
Assume about that.
So that was definitely the more incriminating of the lines that was left behind, but it's not a big one. Reinvestigate the victim from the dismemberment incident. He's alive. Now, the thing is if he is alive, wow, big impress. It's not, I don't know. I don't feel like that could be traced back to someone, but it very much might be the one that is, true.
I don't know,
to make someone think that they're onto them, or that, if Higurashi took it... Go ahead.
Yeah, it was an investigation that was... it was closed or whatever, but it was never, satisfied. I don't know. I wonder if just some random kid saying, you should reopen this murder investigation or whatever. I don't know how much sway that would have, but since the kid is dead.
Well, yeah, it's... that's the thing, is, let's just say that it was taken by the culprit.
Sure.
If this was me and I was masterminding this, multi-year scheme to murder and assassinate people under the guise of curse, I think I'd probably leave that in as part of the mystique.
Sure.
So if anything, that line kind of makes it seem more like this is someone taking that note and being like, well, maybe I should reinvestigate this. Probably Oishi.
Maybe.
Yeah, Tomitaki-san's death was from an unknown drug. Again, that's another one that could be weird, because I think, they were already suspecting that. They'd already investigated and couldn't find any traces of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they have a source that's saying it's true, then, that can be the kick in the backside that would make them look into it more.
Maybe.
The syringe is proof. I don't get why that one would be taken. I guess if it was actually a syringe and I'm just wrong, then sure, that makes sense that they want to get the sample of the drug out of there. But given the theme of the story of banding together and friendship and them trying to help him, I don't think that's what it was.
You never know. I don't know what drives someone to try and kill someone with a syringe. You don't know.
It's really, really strange.
It is strange. The whole thing is strange. It's a murder mystery. Written by Ryukishi. How could it not be strange?
You make an excellent point.
How could it not be strange? But yeah, cool. I like it. Yeah, I like your thoughts so far.
It's just very peculiar that it was deliberately noted as having been taken out.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think, as I said, there's two main ways you can take it, and neither of them really make sense to me. Because as you say, there's no real reason to believe this kid, and also there's no real reason that anyone benefits from having this knowledge hidden when all of these things have already been suspected and mostly accepted to be untrue.
It's very interesting. Why do they care about the opinion of this kid who's just passed away? I don't know. It's a great question. Anyway, yeah, I'm loving Oishi. He is my favorite boy, except for Koichi. Keiichi. Not Koichi, that's a different character. That's his half-brother. To be revealed in Arc 5.
That's their, Dragon Ball Z merge.
Yeah, totally.
Or however that works.
His Dragon Ball Z merge, that sounds like a crazy sci-fi show that I really love. You know what else is a cool sci-fi show? Star Wars.
Star Wars? That was the best transition.
Man, I love Star Wars. And I love fan art that's based off of Star Wars. So you know how we were doing...
Up.
Thank you. So you know how we were like, Kylo Renner. People did fan art. Shout out to Epica.
And Omega.
For making wonderful Kylo Renner art. Complete with star in Epica's, which is
just tragic.
I don't know how that's become a meme, but every time in the playthrough server I say star, in the video, people start calling star poses, and it's great. It's fantastic.
Because he does have a pose for it.
I do! It's amazing! I literally, exert my body.
Even when I have star lines, he exerts physically.
Yeah, it's great. I love it so much. As I said, the little jokes that I feel them in my heart. And Star,
nothing quite like explaining jokes to really sell this show.
Look, I want to make sure that people understand.
That's fair.
Star is a special thing for me, and I want it to continue into the galaxy far, far away where it came from.
Then we have one last thing
from Jamtrad. He also made fan art. Was it from Jamtrad?
The Pokemon.
He made some stupid Pokemon.
It only took him 4 attempts.
I love it.
To get the spelling right.
Yay! Jamtrad, we love you. He's been a long time watcher, first time memer. Thank you, Jamtrad.
It's super effective.
This has been the fan art section. Thanks for coming to the show today.
Yes.
What's the last thing, fam?
What's
Tell
the
me.
last thing? Last thing. We still have either a whole recap or half a recap because we definitely...
What's the next thing?
We definitely didn't edit this in because we forgot to talk about it the day before.
What's the next thing?
The points, Ben.
The points! Which we remembered to do!
Remembered to do the first time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
We're so good at this.
We have 44.5 to 158.5 points.
I think we can make it. I think we can catch up. We just gotta really stick our nose to the ground and abuse the system for all that it's worth.
We still have a whole 7 more arcs to go.
It's true. It's like the start of a good shonen battle anime where it's like, oh, I am the big evil man and you cannot beat me. I am too delicious and have beautiful mirror. And we're like, oh boy, we better like grow as a person and get lots of friends and stuff.
If someone wants to make me a fully animated title graphic for every time we get the points with like people wielding weapons, shooting each other, or anything, each other, just anything
that is amazing, we'll accept all fan art and it'll feature in the previous section.
Yeah,
great.
Because this graphic, as much as I love it,
is beautiful.
It is
purple and blue. Those are fun colors.
Took way too long to pick those colors.
It did actually, because I wanted like orange and green because of like Ren and Mion, but it doesn't really work the way. It doesn't blend in quite the right way.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It was also like
color schemes, guys.
For whatever reason, purple and blue is just like the two colors I associate with Higurashi.
Right. I wonder why.
I don't know.
I wonder why.
Like Umineko has a very strong red and gold theme all the way through its branding, whereas Higurashi, I think it's kind of more like red, black, and white.
You didn't mention green once. That's so strange. Like, I associate like orange and green so much, and it's probably just because of those hair colors of the first two girls. So,
I mean, also like the sunset and nature vibe, I guess.
Yes, yeah, totally. Like we're out in rural Japan. I totally am like green for like the landscape, and then orange for like it's the setting sun, it's summer, the cicadas.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to LV for that cicada thing.
Again, yes.
I'm gonna shout out again. Shout out for that shit.
Yeah, I think I definitely associate that more with the imagery of the game itself, but the like branding of the game is definitely more red, black, and white.
If you say so. If you say so. I mean, that's like the title screen here with the like. It says start, and Higurashi when they cry, it's like white letters with a black outline with the red sea, all that fun stuff.
Actually, now that I mention it, I don't actually remember what the like disc cover for Onikakushi is.
The
like
disc
on
cover?
on the original like comic release.
I have no idea. I could look it up, but I don't know off the top of my head. So
yeah, because I know that all of the When They Cry games. Like
they have all their own crazy shit.
All their own CD cover things.
I'll find out for you. You just ramble about something.
What would I ramble about? This is like the end of this story. So anyway, I have the vaguest feeling I might have forgotten a point in the final video because I was like racing to edit that one. So if I did, we'll give Ryukishi a bonus point for every point that I missed. But you know, maybe that didn't happen. The other thing we needed to do...
Shit. It's the, like, image of all 6 of the... Oh, well, not all 6, you're talking about as well, but 7 of the sprite characters. Or 6 of the 7 sprite characters.
There you go.
But yeah, there you go. It's just an image of all the kids.
And it is red, black, and white.
There you go, red, black, and white. Sounds good to me.
The other thing is we back in a video, we had this moment.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
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 Wait, so Mion is at the house? Hold on.
No, this is answering the phone.
Who's it?
Oh, okay. Keiichi's pranked me on. That's what's happened. We've been pranked as well.
We've been pranked by Keiichi.
We've been pranked as well.
The magician of words.
Idiot, you fell for it.
Yeah, idiot.
Yeah, jeez, who would fall for that? God.
What a dick.
Fucking, should we give him points for pranking us?
No, give Keiichi points.
I don't know.
I don't know what that was. I was so unprepared.
Vote in the comments who gets a point for that exchange.
Yeah, we'll sort it out next time. Point to us. That's what I say.
I'm sorry to say,
No.
we were demolished in the comments.
Guys.
I don't think I saw a single person vote for us.
It's okay. We just have to work on our fan appeal.
Yeah.
What do we have to do?
Clearly,
Like,
there is
dress
not
up
enough
as-
favoritism to us.
Dress up as maids.
Clearly,
Maybe
the
they'll like
near
us more.
20 years of love that these people have had for Ryukishi can't be simply undone by a few simple
Upstarts.
upstarts like us.
Look, I'm just saying, we gotta get some branding, we gotta get maid outfits, magic look, let's get all the cute stuff going. That's how we make the audience be on our side. That's how we do it. That's what I want to do.
I see no flaws in this plan.
I see no
except
flaws.
That it's going to be all you.
Absolutely, I'm ready for it. Get me a leotard, strap me in. Strap me in.
All right, let's get into Umineko.
Yay!
If you have not watched the Umineko,
If you have not seen the Umineko, like if you haven't seen our playthrough and you have watched Umineko or played it, no, not watched, but if you have played Umineko, you watch someone else play it, whatever, stick around. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be great.
yeah,
Or watch our playthrough and come
The first
back.
thing I wanted to talk about, which
Yeah.
isn't like really Umineko spoilers, but I still wanted to put it here just in case,
Sure.
is the whole magic versus reality thing.
Yay.
Like, it's definitely something that was brought up, especially right at the end by Rena. When she's
Yep.
like, oh, Hishiro-sama exists, which is totally just straight out of the Umineko playbook, or the other way around.
Other way
I
around.
guess.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yep. Commentating on previous works.
I know, it's so great.
It's great.
But there was something that happened in Umineko, which, like, I went into the story and it was like, is it magic? Is it reality?
Yep.
And I started the story thinking to myself, well, it's obviously both. You know, it's a story with magical elements in it. How is it not both? And then what Ryukishi went through and he was like, nah, it's only one or the other. And I was like, fuck yeah, fuck that magic shit. It's all reality. And then he dragged it back around at the end to right where I was at the beginning, which was a really great experience for me. And I think part of why I loved it so much because I came in with the correct expectation and then was just completely bamboozled by him.
Yeah.
Shut up, dog!
Is that your dog?
Yes, that
no.
is
Sparky, no.
my boy.
Your boy.
But like this time around, I've kind of been baited again. Like,
How do you know you've been baited if you haven't finished?
well, because it's Ryukishi, my boy. Like, regardless of what it actually ends up being, I've already kind of like siphoned myself straight into the team reality.
I have noticed you haven't talked about like magical elements at all.
I really
in your
haven't.
analysis.
I mean, to
I would
some
love to pick your
extent,
brain about that.
to some extent, they haven't really been presented.
No.
Like, I think that's one of the things that I don't like about the all-cast review session is that's when we introduce the like, is it magic or is it a human thing? Like, definitely.
Well, what would be the point of asking if it's magical reality
But,
if,
like-
if we were shown magical things? Because then
Like-
we wouldn't be able to
but,
deny
like-
it. You see.
Oya Shirosama being brought up early in the story is brought up kind of like is this what the villagers say it is, or is it not what they say it is? Whereas
say so.
it takes to the all-cast review session for them to really be like, is it one way or the other? Whereas in Umineko, it was like, wow, that's impossible. How did that happen? This doesn't make any sense.
What,
and
to
then
expect some kind
Maria is telling you the whole time that it's the witch. Now, not to say that Ryukishi didn't put those themes in there earlier, but as I said in the previous recap, I don't think he put them in there clearly enough, and that's why the review session felt very much like, oops, I forgot about this a bit.
What, are you expecting some kind of a witch to kick down the door and simply shout at you that Oyashiro-sama exists?
I mean, kind of. But what that kind of meant for me is that, like, all of the things that we were seeing, I was never challenged to think of them as magic.
Yeah, it's a much less direct tension, like source of tension. Because normally when you write a story, you need to have a central tension, and that's where all the drama comes from. This story, the central tension is supposed to, like, according to the all-cast review session, according to the word of the author, it's supposed to be, was it magic or was it people?
Yeah.
They do not, like, develop that very well in the story. Umineko is a much better example of how to establish that central tension and then poke at it for, like, 20 hours.
Yeah.
While not giving up the goal at the end of what it actually is.
But I think there's definitely, having gone back through and editing, there's a lot more moments that are a lot more magic-y than I really
They're a bit more subtle.
read through. Like, to my mind, they're all still probably real. Like, I'm still Team Reality, but I definitely...
But are you Team Mystery?
Oof. Tough questions. But, like, I'm definitely still Team Reality, but I'm like... a lot more cautious about, like, was this meant to be magic, or was this just meant to be a distorted reality?
Sure.
Because there's, like, a lot of scenes where Keiichi's having these you know, inverted moments with the image gets inverted and whatnot.
Yep.
Where he's like, this is happening, and I'm just like, okay, he's just picturing that in his head.
Yeah.
Whereas I wonder if that is meant to be magic with an unreliable narrator. Like, it's clearly an unreliable narrator either way.
Sure.
But are we meant to see it more like the magic as was presented in Umineko, or are we meant to perceive it as hallucination?
It's a great question, and that's, you know, something I can't really comment on.
Particularly,
what
we got to in Watanagashi with the banging sounds of a child jumping in the shed.
Oh boy, that's fun.
Which is a fantastic moment,
Why
by
jumping?
the way.
Why a child?
Yeah, why jumping? Why a child? It's very clearly meant to be like, this is out of reality. The fact that two characters identify the same thing as the same source at the same time when they weren't talking with each other is really weird.
It is. It's weird.
And like that puts a lot more of a challenge on the magic element than any of the things in Arc 1 did.
Define magic for me.
Yeah, like, to my mind, that whole scene where Keiichi, like, you know, looks back into his memories when he was at the grocery store or whatever, buying the noodles, like, to my mind, he's just inserted something into that scene. Whereas I think that perhaps on a reread, it seems like it was more intended to be a, like, magic-y scene.
Maybe.
I still think it's, you know, it's probably in the territory of both, but the question is why.
I mean, in Umineko, by the end, you can very clearly be like, these are the magic scenes, these are the reality scenes.
Yeah.
Like, in a magic scene, Ryushi can write whatever the fuck he wants, right? That's what they achieve by throwing the witches in and the stakes and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But in Higurashi, you're right. There hasn't been a witch. There hasn't been, like, a weird, you know, supernatural happening. There's just been a lot of secondhand kind of discussions.
I think the other example was when he like smashed the shoe cupboard door or whatever, and he like heard someone behind him. Like, if we're dragging magic into the story this early, you know, that's when fucking Oyashiro-sama's actually standing behind him, breathing down his neck or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
But the scene wasn't, to my mind, at least presented that way.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Keiichi obviously said like, oh, there's someone standing behind me. I can hear them breathing. You know, why are they stepping when I step or whatever?
Yeah.
And at the time, I felt like that was more just like his paranoia about Ren following him
that's kind of
everywhere.
Like, is there literally supposed to be like a magical being there, or is it him just like extrapolating based on like the stories that he's heard? Right?
Yeah, or even just him extrapolating. Like, it's like, oh, I heard someone breathe behind me. It's like, no, the door's open, the wind blew in.
Yeah, totally.
So like, that it's a really interesting question to me about like how much of what we've been presented is meant to be magic in a similar scope to how it was in Umineko so far.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Well, yeah, I'm glad that you're puzzling out those mysteries. I would like to talk about a specific scene in Umineko.
Sure.
That pained me when we first read through it.
Go for it.
I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about episode 6, the scenes where Natsuhi, Beatrice, Runaway, and Vigilia were all in the same room talking to each other.
Yes.
And I was also doing the narration, and I wanted to kill myself. So here's the deal. Natsuhi and Beatrice's voices are very similar. Runaway and Vigilia's voices were intentionally similar. Like, they use the same technique in my throat. So I've got these two pairs of voices that are very close to each other, and I don't have much of a chance to stop, and they're all very emotionally distressed. It is incredibly difficult to fucking switch those voices.
Yeah.
I can't explain it to you guys out there. But Felix has been experiencing something similar with, more in Watanagashi, I suppose, but definitely
there's
with
a
like...
lot more of me talking in this story.
Yes. Which is fun. I didn't entirely plan out that way, but the other alternative was for me to play Rena. Oh, sorry, for you to play Rena and me to play Keiichi, which I didn't really want to do. There's a lot more of you talking. I'd like to know how you're coping with that. In terms of switching voices.
It's difficult. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Particularly with the example you just cited in Watanagashi. Like, that's like 3 characters in the same scene. 3
characters, all with a very similar voice, in a certain shed. It's great.
No, not that one. The one outside before that.
Oh, close enough.
Because then we have Mion Shion.
Takano.
Keiichi all at the same time.
And Keiichi.
Just like, fuck that noise. Like, Keiichi's at least reasonably different, but the other 3 are basically
the same voice.
Basically the same.
Yep. Which is great.
I think it's also very interesting in terms of like how that has afflicted my interpretation of the characters.
Definitely.
Particularly like towards the end of Arc 1, I noticed a lot more in editing. Like, I don't think it was as intentional so much as just how I was interpreting the scene. But like after Keiichi's killed Mion and Rena right at the end there, like I was reading that as two different voices in his head, kind of like Gollum and Smeagol style from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. That's fun.
So like I was like real up close on the mic, and it was him talking to himself rather than him just thinking to himself, if that makes sense. Like I know that's kind of a thin line to draw, but that's like the line that I have in my head between like how I'm playing him.
Yeah, I mean, I had something similar with like, I mean, I didn't play all of these characters, but like Ken and Shen and Beatrice, right?
Yeah.
Like you gotta kind of think of it the same way. Thankfully, I had some suitably differing voices for that particular performance. But yeah, no, I'm glad you at least seem to be enjoying the challenge. Maybe. Yeah, I know it's fun. And this is why we try to plan voices. I didn't plan my voices for this playthrough quite as thoroughly as Umineko. And you never get to plan, so...
I never do.
Yeah, which is great. Although I tell you a little bit, I'm like, yo, we're going to meet a nerd soon. And then you picked like the most villainy voice you could have ever chosen, which was great.
No, you said sexy teacher.
I did say sexy teacher.
That was what your description was.
You're right,
and I picked the voice that fit the description.
Is that what you were playing? You were playing a sexy teacher?
I mean, you know the character that she's based on.
She was not a teacher, though. She was a cold-blooded murderer with a collection of fine alcohols that was burned down by a crime boss. Anyway, cut this.
That screams sexy teacher to me.
He blew her brains out with a blunderbuss in a tower, in a ghost-infested tower. This is ridiculous.
So yes, the character that I based,
Very similar
that I based Takano off, was a character of mine called Syra Pritchard.
Yay, best girl.
Who basically she was a gang leader.
Yeah, she was
a
great.
schemer.
A leader. Wow, I think the other gang members would hate to hear you say that.
But like,
tell us about her.
Basically, like, she is such an evil character. But
yeah,
and
which is great because
But she always, I tried to play her with like this softer side, and we had this like whole romance angle that we played out when we were doing that particular story,
which was wonderful, by the way.
And like, I feel like injecting her into Takano has made Takano like 300% more evil than she's meant to be.
It's great,
but at the same time, I love that.
Yeah, it's great. You've taken like. Because he describes her as being like a knife's edge, and like see her hair drift in the wind, like 1,000 guns looking at me, bullshit like that. And yeah, you've just taken like the description, you've turned up to 11, which I think is wonderful.
Which particularly when we had that first scene, which was like her only scene in the entire story, like I'd already like injected her with this evil persona of my own, so. I've been like way more suspicious of her through the whole story than I probably should have been.
It's fun,
but I think it's paid off. And it was really fun in editing, going back and seeing like all of the mentions of the stuff that Takano's done, like working at the clinic and like, oh, she's such a lovely young lady from those old people at the clinic. Like all of these buildings of her character in the background and how that affected my reading of those. That's been really weird.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself with that. That is a fun character.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think, other than, me injecting her with way more evil than that, I think that it's still been really great how she's been such a subtle character in the story, but still somehow played into everything so far.
Sure.
I think, if I'm here and I'm correcting what I said at the end of last recap and I'm picking a new villain, it's Takano. She's the one behind this all.
Alright.
How and why? No fucking clue. You'll have to watch Watanagashi to find out a bit more about that.
I'll be excited to hear your theory by the end.
But god damn. I don't think that my opinion of Onikakushi like really picked up a lot on account of editing it. I think I definitely saw a few details, but I kind of like already expected them to be there. So it's interesting. I'm looking forward to coming back to this one at a later date. This might even be one that we do a third recap on.
I would love to. Oh my god. Do that like at the end of the whole playthrough, just like talk about Onikakushi. Oh my god.
We'll see how that goes.
Or at the end of its answer arc. Or what if we did like an answer recap or some shit? Oh my god.
That's a scary thought.
All right.
That'd
be fun.
Well, either way, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy Watanagashi.
Wait, I can't say that. Cut that. That ruins the joke.
Yes, it does.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.